अफ्रीका कैसा लगा आपको?
मेरे फेवरेट जगहों में से एक तंजानिया है। मैं
ज़ांज़ीबार
तंजानिया में ही है। ज़ांज़ीबार छोटा सा आइलैंड है, वो तंजानिया में ही आता है। ब्यूटीफुल प्लेस, मतलब थाईलैंड से सुंदर बीचेस तुझे वहां मिल जाएंगे, क्रिस्टल क्लियर पानी, और वहां पे तुम्हारी वो भी होती है स्काई डाइविंग। तो मैंने वहां करी थी। तू सोच, तू स्काई डाइविंग कर रहा है, नीचे एकदम क्रिस्टल क्लियर पानी है वो, और पार्टीज भी वहां कमाल है। और तंजानिया में इसलिए मैं अच्छा कह रहा हूँ क्योंकि तुम्हें सब मिल रहा है। एक देश में तुम्हें कमाल पहाड़ भी मिल रहे हैं, वहां पे अफ्रीका की हाईएस्ट पीक है किलिमंजारो। सबसे सुंदर बीचेस तुम्हें दुनिया के मिल सकते हैं वहां पे अगर तुम ज़ांज़ीबार जाओगे। बढ़िया पार्टी सीन भी है, तो डॉल्फिन्स के साथ भी स्विमिंग कर सकते हो, व्हेल शार्क्स वगैरह के साथ भी स्विमिंग कर सकते हो, तुम टर्टल्स के साथ भी स्विमिंग कर सकते हो, पार्टी करनी है वो भी कर सकते हो। अगर तुम्हें कल्चर ट्राइब्स में घुसना है तो मसाई ट्राइब के पास जाओ, उनका कल्चर देखो। और अगर तुम्हें वाइल्ड लाइफ जाननी है, दुनिया में उससे बढ़िया जगह है ही नहीं भाई।
Wow. You barely even know what he's saying if you're speaking English, right? But at the same time, you know exactly what he's saying if you're speaking experience. Let's talk a little bit more about it. All right. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to another wonderful series of the Wakazi United Podcast. We are for the people, by the people. Don't believe me? It's in the name. Been a little minute trying to get some things together for content's sake. Like I said, we are new to this, but we are continuing to push forward. For those of you who are new to the channel, which would be majority of you because we just started this channel not too long ago. First of all, welcome. My name is JE3. I'm the host of this channel, representing one of the directors of the Wakazi Holdings Limited, which is a Tanzanian company in Dar es Salaam. We are involved in multiple different ventures on the ground and are willing to work and are working with some smaller projects, still trying to see what the next move forward is with the surrounding neighboring countries. But one of the biggest things that I'm excited and we have been pushing toward in developing for other enterprises in the future, or should I say developing different relationships with other enterprises in the future, is connecting that side of the world in East Africa to this side of the world where I'm currently at in the United States of America. And I, as well as the directors or foreigners in this regard, but doing investment nonetheless, and definitely have love for the people on the ground in Tanzania, as well as many of the African citizens throughout the continent and around the world, as to which we, myself, and the directors who are from the Caribbean share blood lineage and a common history in some regard. So welcome without further ado to this channel where we expound on business, opportunities and different ventures and projects throughout the African diaspora, and connecting that to other opportunities that may be on the other side of those waters. So this is a global community, just with a more niche understanding, if you get my drift on that one. So yeah, as you saw from the intro video, definitely showing a lot of love to TZ. As you can see, he was speaking on how Tanzania and Zanzibar, which is the major island off the coast of that mainland, is one of the favorite places to visit. As I was saying, like they weren't speaking, 100% English, and with a very strong accent, a little here and there. You kind of get tidbits of it, but that was the gist of that video. And I'm stating that because for content sake, I do series. So by series, I film a large sketch, or a long range of content, and then I divide them into more digestible sections. So you'll see a bit of this and a little bit of that at different stages of the posting on this channel. So just keep that in mind. So the original initial video for this is the one that you just watched, and that'll correlate to the entire theme of what this series is. So that's just a little bit of uh, a key, should I say, for you to understand, how to navigate towards different episodes and everything like this moving forward. All right. So all that administrative stuff aside, I say that to bring you that there's going to be a different up and down of information here. I like to make sure that I run a tight ship on what I'm speaking on next. So typically, I like to keep things informed on what's going on that side of the world. Not necessarily in Tanzania where we are stationed as a company, but also what's going on in that region, and what other news might be going on that's major on the continent that also affects global news, global trade, politics, things like that. And just try to make sure that I'm not leaving anything out. So I'm giving proper insight where necessary, because even though this is a business based channel and we're speaking about business opportunities in Africa, specifically in East Africa, even more specifically in Tanzania, to put everything in the right context means to understand what is going on the ground, so you're not running into any difficulty. There's a lot of variables in business as it is, so keeping up with the news is highly important. So as you're enjoying the journey and the people and the different ways that you can network and build upon all the different opportunities that we will speak on this channel, doesn't take away the fact that life goes on. Life is always full of its ups and downs, and so there will be a little bit of that in this particular discussion, because we have to go into a little bit of subtle news deep dive here about what's been going on in Uganda regarding the news of an Ebola outbreak. So I have a few videos that I want to review on that. And then of course get some real-time updates, because that was back in June, I think, where I got these videos. So I'd like to give a little bit of time to see, like, hey, like what what is being. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I'm cutting in really quickly just to make a few adjustments and a couple of updates. First of all, I realized in editing this video, I kept saying Uganda as a central point of the Ebola crisis that's going on in the DRC right now, if you get what I'm saying. So realizing that, I said, let me go ahead and step in and say it is the DRC that we're focused on. Yes, a few cases did go to Uganda, and even one in France. There was a casualty in France, unfortunately. However, it is the DRC that is suffering the most from it, and it's the DRC that is suffering by the hundreds of casualties because of this, compared to any other country in the world right now. So that is the main focal point. So I really wanted to make that clear. So when you hear me in the beginning say Uganda, yes, Uganda is technically involved, but I'm really speaking about the DRC. This is mostly about the DRC. And as I hint many times in the video, or state rather many times in the video, much prayers to the DRC and anybody who is dealing with this tragic chain of events right now. With that being said, I also wanted to add a few updates as I'm speaking right now, just to add a little bit of strength to the video, should I say, and also adding more information, up-to-date information that people may find useful in trying to understand more about what's going on the ground. So let me go ahead and just add a few tidbits to that, and then we can go back to that video. Okay, y'all. So our first piece of updated information is this. This is from the European Center of Disease Prevention and Control. So it's the Ebola disease outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. So they do list both on this one. And this is back on August 6, 2026, which is not too long ago from when I'm making this video right now. Like I said, I do my videos with a good steady pacing, but I also do want to make sure that my information isn't too out of date so it doesn't take away the quality of this podcast. So according to this, we have a total of 4,000, just a little bit over 4,000 confirmed cases, including an unfortunate 1,850 related deaths from data up until the 5th of August. So you do have also almost 700 patients that are hospitalized in isolation at this current time. So this is horrific. They do highlight this, that on the 28th July 2026, 12 days since the last case was discharged, and Uganda's Ministry of Health declared the end of Ebola disease outbreak. So Uganda, like I stated before, has fought this good fight, and they are no longer in that conversation. We are still focusing on the DRC at this. So under the same guidance of sources from the European Center of Disease Prevention and Control, we have another title: Ebola disease outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Uganda. This was the day previously from that day. So that wouldn't give the most updated information, but this did have a very nice mapping. As you can see, the areas that are affected in the DRC. All of this is within the borders of the DRC. This red area that says affected health zones, and you also have affected provinces or districts. So all of that is pretty much throughout the country of the DRC. And as you can see, Uganda had a little bit in its capital area. But as the day will show from the first source that we saw, which was a day earlier than that one, this is being, as you can see up here, a couple of days. Well, this is August 7th. This is August 6th, but nonetheless, some days prior, has shown Uganda in good standing, right? So we have that information there. And lastly, for these updates, this is a review from the World Health Organization, the WHO, about the DRC. And it just states an Ebola outbreak was confirmed in DRC and Uganda, May 20, 2026. And it is of the I knew I was gonna butcher this. Bundi bungoyo species of Ebola involved, is one of which there is no vaccine or specific treatment. The work is ongoing to test promising candidates. Outbreak is occurring in challenging contexts, humanitarian crisis in a remote and densely populated area, combined with insecurity and high population and trade movements. WHO is scaling up support to the governments of the DRC and Uganda, strengthening surveillance, contact tracing, clinical preparedness and management, delivery of supplies, and community engagement and cross-border preparedness. Community engagement will be key. It is only when communities are engaged in the response that such outbreaks are brought under control. So that's the update on this. Like I say, we'll continue to keep posting and any new information if we have it. Continue to enjoy the rest of the video. I promise you the content is relevant. In stating all this, hopefully this gives you a more well-informed update on what is going on in DRC and what was going on in Uganda. But without further ado, continue to enjoy the rest of this episode because it does break down a couple of key facts and commentary that will not just help you understand more about what's going on, but also give a good general discussion about the future of how this impacts communities, also relating it to other unfortunate futuristic contagions, if you want to put it that way, that may possibly pop up in the future, which is not too taboo of a discussion or topic of discussion, especially at this time in our lives. Okay, so thank you once again for allowing me to break that little piece down. Back to the video. Thanks for watching. And for you to do good business, you need to stay informed, correct? All right, so what I'm seeing here is one of the two videos that I saw not too long ago. I believe back in June, maybe late June. Let me see, this was about a month ago. We're in July right now, give or take. So I just wanted to see what was stated, and then we will look at some updates after this. All right.
Died from Ebola in the outbreak in the Democratic. Now, more than 200 people are now thought to have died from Ebola in the outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Health authorities battling the disease are facing growing resistance. Arson attacks on isolation centers have forced some sufferers to return to their communities, and many are defying a ban on more than 50 people gathering.
The ban on large gatherings includes church masses, but it hasn't deterred these Catholic worshippers in Bunia. The city is at the heart of the rapidly spreading Ebola outbreak in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Some of the faithful say the crisis has driven them to church for comfort, despite the risk.
We know this disease exists, but there are preventative measures Christians must observe. As you see with me with this face mask, we have wash basins here and there. We must also maintain social distancing. Just because there's a disease doesn't mean we can close the church.
Man, just to stop right here, for those who are listening along to this, it definitely brings back those memories you try to delete out your mind, should I say. Back to those 2020 days, 2021, 2022 even. Some even lasted a little bit longer, going up into 2025, depending on what districts and health issues for different people. So you already know where I'm going with this. Obviously, this reminds us of the global pandemic that everyone, rich, poor, you name it, had to deal with in some fashion, shape, or form. And of course, those who had far less dealt with it on a completely different level, compared to those who may have had a little bit more resources to, last the way. So when those with resources suffer, you already know it's going to be a bumpy ride, right, for everybody else involved. Because most of the world is not, in the top 10%, obviously, hence the percentage. So this kind of stated on that. But when it comes to Uganda, from what little I know, for what little I understand, they have a really strong understanding of how to deal with these types of outbreaks. So their resilience, their wisdom on this has to be noted. This isn't just a regular country that, I hate to say isn't used to this. I mean, some people can say that's a bad characteristic for a country to have to continue to go through these types of things. But to be fair, there's so-called, global superpowers that go through these things as well on a regular basis. Funny enough, the last global situation, one was a focal point of that. and some could say others, to be fair, but I'm not gonna get into all of that. Like I said, I'm trying to get to the politics, but this is definitely sad news. But let's see what else they're speaking on, and definitely when it comes to religious gatherings, that's always been a tricky conversation with respect to people's faith and what is the policy at hand and how those two intersect with one another. It can really make or break the effectiveness of what is needed to mitigate this issue. So let's hear a little bit more on this particular source.
That's precisely why we come here, to ask God to help us in all these ways.
Gatherings of this size are complicating the efforts of health authorities to contain the outbreak. Funerals are especially dangerous as the bodies of people who have died from Ebola are extremely infectious. They're now carried out under Red Cross supervision, with armed police standing guard. And 2 of the 3 Ebola treatment centres in the region have been burned down by residents.
It's up to us to sit down with everyone, to explain the situation, and collectively decide how we can best respond to this outbreak. We ourselves have just had an empty tent burned down 2 days ago, so we know how crucial community engagement is.
The World Health Organization says the outbreak now poses a very high risk for Congo, up from the previous high, though the chances of the disease.
This is the People United Podcast. We are